In other news making headlines this afternoon, the National Assembly has rejected a bill that sought to make it a criminal offense for employers to call their employees after working hours. Members of Parliament questioned the legality of the Employment Amendment Bill 2022, sponsored by Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei, claiming it is not only criminalized a civil contract between an employer and employee, but also created legal minefields that would end up contradicting Kenya's labor policies.
The Employment Amendment Bill 2022, sponsored by Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei, proposed employees be granted the right to disconnect from their employer, effectively making it criminal for an employer to call their employees past working hours. The senator argued that employees should have a right to disconnect in the digital age and to address the rising number of employee burnout cases.
I want to encourage the employees, even the employer should provide the employees with the office line. Say that when it reaches 5 p.m., you switch off that line. Or even if they are using your normal line, switch off or even block the employer from calling you.
Having drawn sharp criticism from the Federation of Kenya Employers, the bill was procedurally submitted to the National Assembly for debate. When it came up for debate in the second reading Thursday evening, the Labour Standing Committee set the stage for its rejection, questioning the rationale of its passage in the Senate.
The bill doesn't consider some people like the domestic workers. A domestic worker is with the employer throughout. Now, where does this connection? Because the bill now should cover all employees, should not target a few and leave the others. Now, for a domestic worker, the bill should have clearly indicated at what stage should the domestic worker disconnect from the employee and they are living in the same premises.
I would have wished an amendment to the Employment Act would have literally been directed towards that line. But directing us on mundane issues, hopelessly unproductive issues, is a terrible waste of national resources.
Kangema MP Peter Kihungi, who is a member of the Labour Committee and the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee Chair Gitonga Murugara, led the chorus of opposition to the bill, accusing the drafter of the bill of seeking to criminalize a civil agreement between employers and employees through the proposal to fine violators of the proposal 500,000 shillings.
I am not very sure where this bill has been lifted from, but it seems to be actually in contravention of employment laws in the country, and especially bearing in mind that employment law is civil law. It is not criminal law, it is civil law. It is based on contract between two persons, an employer and an employee.
As a committee, we say that the issue of employment is a civil relationship and should not be given a criminal liability. When I employ an employee, I should not be found myself maybe on issues of management in my work, whereby I can be declared criminal by contacting my employee. He says, if you contact an employee after working hours, you are liable for a fine of 500,000 or an imprisonment of 1 year.
Legislators say the legal minefields in the bill do not only expose employers, but are likely to disrupt the labor market.
I'm surprised that this bill has continued from the Senate all the way to this House, when in fact the Public Service Commission rejected this bill. To quote to itself, Central Organization of Trade Union rejected this bill.
It is not clear, even from this bill, when the bill talks of only in cases of emergencies, but which are these emergencies? It is not stated which is the emergency and which is not.
FKE, in its opposition to the bill, claimed the proposed amendments would negate the essence of managing enterprises freely to meet the demands and challenges posed by the market. John Jacob Curia, Lunchtime News.